And
Hold on a second. What?
okay, this is a horrible timing. Actually, You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna mute temporarily. There we go. All right, that was actually horrible timing.
Why?
I like literally the moment I press start streaming, you're like, hold on a second, and go
Oh
off.
my god. Of course.
Anyways, we're live finally. Sorry for we're late again. Actually, over a week late,
Sort
but
of.
hey.
Sort of.
Literally every episode of TA Podcast ever. Anyways, welcome to the next episode of TA Podcast. Today we are on episode number 6. My name is Trickster Ad, and today I'm joined by I don't know, Misanthropy Phoenix.
Yeah, exactly.
So many nicknames. Anyways, so yeah, today I'm joined by, as always, by Misanthropy, also known as Phoenix, and yeah, we've just actually had a discussion about some stuff that has happened recently in my life and in the not so distant, unfortunately, not so distant past for similar things has happened for Misanthropy. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Anyways, so we are actually going to talk a bit about that, and then we're gonna see how it goes, as always.
Yep.
So,
So basically, the topic being that for people who are, whether you're a freelancer or you have a small business, etc., and or working in a small business, somewhere uh, higher up and dealing with like clients, like the snafus and like pitfalls that you can encounter where you're trying to do business with people and maybe things weren't explicitly laid out well enough, or maybe they were explicitly laid out, and then that person, the customer or the client that you're working with, actually not following through on their side of things, letting you
exactly.
get in, do all the work, and then when it comes time to pay, suddenly they're unreachable, or it's okay, not answering messages about like settling up, but then it's like, oh, hey, well, where's this? I want this, or I need that. I need something else. I need another project, but not settling up. And so the challenges that like puts
Yeah.
on you as a person, as a, a freelancer, as a company owner. And it's a huge challenge for just about anybody in
I
that
mean,
situation.
it just puts strain on your team that's working on the project with them, and if there is some relationship, then relationship with the person you are talking to, like on the customer side. Anyway, so I should probably start with the story, though. I mean, you already know how it ends from what.
Sort of,
I'm
not
just gonna.
necessarily. You don't know how it ends because that's just like one of those scenarios that like comes up for a lot of people. But depending on how you
True.
handle it or handle it later, like you can actually the outcome can be very different. So how did yours go?
Anyway, so it started out like so. First of all, I haven't known this person for a while. Let's just say a while beforehand, and they own, or well,
Run.
I'm run a non. Yeah, that's a better word actually. They have founded and run a non-profit. It's actually an educational non-profit, like after school education sort of thing. Uh, Anyways, he needed some stuff done, like some recording, some videos for YouTube, for their YouTube channel, and for live streams and stuff later on. But initially, it was that video, and I basically said, "Hey, so I have this thing going on." Like he knew I have Shield and Dagger, as in like the hardware software business side of things, but I told him, "Hey, so we also do like this, like." Basically, exactly what you were asking for. Okay, uh, I just received a message.
It's like,
Sorry about
hey,
that.
you need something, and like that's really interesting because that's something that I do.
Yeah, it's exactly like he told me that he needed someone. He and actually asked me to do it because he knew I have the skill set. again, we like knew each other. And I was like,
Yes, we're
hey,
like personal friends per se, but like you work
we
with
knew
each
each other and we talked, and yeah,
aware of each
exactly.
other's projects, give or take.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like, I said, hey, I mean, yeah, I'm okay, but I'm just gonna, let's do it. I actually have a company for that. We do it there, so we could definitely help you out with what you need to be done. So I told him what we would charge for this, like normally. Of course, I also told him what other people in our experience, because I was on the customer side of things in this particular thing once. So I do actually have experience with what other companies, other people charge for for the exact same service, really. And I was like, hey, we're friends. I know you do this for a non-profit, and you actually don't make much money. And side note, the grants he gets, he doesn't actually have much money left over. Like for things like this, he basically the grants he gets, he can barely pay the people who are working on him, like on working with him on providing the education to the kids that go to the after school classes and stuff. So I was willing to give him a discount, which actually worked out to almost giving him the work for free. It was like 90% discount, but my team was fine with
Yes.
it.
So a little bit of money, like to be paid for it, but
Yeah.
still give or take.
It was more so
Damn
a
free.
symbolic thing, especially considering that we literally
I can help
brought
you
on
out.
like a 5-person team for the project.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hmm.
Anyways, point is, so yeah, this is like the offer that I gave him, and he was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So of course, first I discussed it with the team. I was actually willing to go on the project alone in case, like, the guys at the team, or well, the girls as well. We actually have like 2 girls working with us on that particular team. If they like weren't okay with it, or okay with basically getting paid less, because
So basically, you're like, I'm willing to do it by myself.
yeah, I was,
team
but they were okay.
We'll help out.
They were okay with it, so we went full team on it, and we just gathered the stuff, like found rentals for the stuff we'd need, and yeah, essentially most of the money would have gone to rentals anyways, and we'd still have to pay something out of pocket, but anyways, so we rented out equipment that we needed but didn't have, and the shooting day rolled around, and we came out basically halfway across the country for the shoot. Sure, the guy provided some transportation to the site, but most of the way was paid for by us, and again, that was something we were okay with at the time. Anyways, we arrived at the site, we did the shoots, and we got home. We got home to this. We got back to the studio, and we started working on the project, like on the post-production stuff side of things. Time went by. We were still working on the project. We had like half a year time to work on it. So yeah. In the meantime, the guy at the non-profit had more projects that needed to be done in the same recording, live streaming, live production side of things. So that was like, so first of all, the first mistake that I've made in this relationship, at least I think, was that the person I dealt with was my friend, or well, not friend, but someone I knew, and someone I kind of cared who like about their opinion of me. So that kind of like made me weak in any potential issue that would later potentially arise. And the second mistake I made is that even though we had the first project and we actually had nothing to, like, no assurance that we were going to get paid for it, other than other than his word that we were going to get paid for it, really. Of course, like, there's some contract written up,
defined
but you know,
timeline or whatever, but like just
like
in general.
there was something on paper written, but you know, it's like, to be fair, like the amount was so small that even small claims court wouldn't actually take the case.
Right, right. That's a good point.
So,
That's a really good point, actually.
yeah. Anyways, we literally had no other thing to go on, like in terms of were we gonna get paid or not, other than his word, or might as well have been his word. And we took on more projects for the guy, anyways. So we did the live streams, and because we actually, when we get hired to do live stream production for people, we actually do, like, again, we get paid after the work usually. Like, you know, it's like the first time maybe we ask upfront, but usually we, like, especially if it's like an established company or something like that, or whatever, whoever we're doing it for, we are okay with waiting after the whole project is done and getting paid after it. So yeah, we basically did the live streams. Again, like, the arrangement was we were going to get paid after the entire project was done and finished. Unfortunately, because of some technical issues that happened with YouTube specifically, was we needed to split the live streams into three different like videos, essentially, that we would have to later come in post and stitch together and edit and trim and stuff. So yeah, because of this kind of issue, the actual project was not done after the live stream was over. And the live streams, we decided to like group them into basically one project, even though we internally and with the customer referred to them as individual projects by the live stream event.
It was a lot of work. It was a lot of
Yeah,
hours, a lot of
it
like
was definitely a lot of hours, like especially like when it's live stream, because you know the live streams are basically entire days.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like you know how people complain about 12-hour work weeks and stuff.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, work weeks, work days.
Work days, yeah.
Yeah. 12-hour is way less than what we pulled weekly at that time. So yeah, and like
Just on that project?
yeah, on the live streams side
Wow.
of, because like I mean, to be fair, this is something we're kind of used to,
Well,
because
sure, but
like like live streams for events, like usually events start around 9 a.m. maybe, like open up for the public, and they end around 9 p.m. So that's 12 hours. But you like the people, the staff
there's
usually are there
and
maybe 2 hours or 3 hours beforehand, and there's a lot of cleaning up to do after. So
Oh yeah.
you know, like 12 hours plus maybe 12 hours plus maybe 4 or 5 hours, and that's basically our standard workday for events and stuff. So again, like there's just this kind of like work. I don't know what I would call it. This kind of workday basically was something we were used to, and we were fine with it. And like it wasn't like weeks on end. It was like a week maybe, and then there was a break a few weeks maybe, and then another maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 days. Anyways, so it wasn't like, every day for 3 months, but
No, but at the same time, like those are like that's a lot of project hours with a lot of like staff. Like
exactly.
several times, even if it's not every day. It's like even if it's just one day that one week, like okay, that's what it's 14, 15 hours
Yeah.
by 4, 5, 6 people or
Mm-hmm.
however many. Like, that is a substantial project.
And yeah, that was like, again, like that was a dumb thing we did on our part, that we just did not ask for payment after the live streams were over, or after the individual events were over, because that would actually make our losses a lot smaller than they are currently, as it
Mind
stands.
if I ask a question about that?
Yeah.
Was part of it because of like the type of work that he was doing, do you think? Like maybe like you felt like, oh, well, we're willing to he's doing good work, or this not for profit like is doing something for
It
like a good
it was
community?
partially, it definitely played a role. yeah,
It
it
made you
was
feel like a little bit more empathetic towards it. It's like you
yeah,
were like,
and like there was the other thing that like he like it felt like he almost like never had time, like basically like
I
he
gotcha.
when I work like, and I don't work like that every day, but when I work I usually like wake up at, let's say, maybe 6-7 a.m.
Hmm.
Go go get some
It's
food.
horrible. I hate that. But continue.
I mean, I'm used to it, it's fine.
Filthy early riser.
I mean, what's funny? I usually don't go sleep before midnight,
I
but
know. Yeah.
I still like, especially if it's like normal, like if the sun rises like in that like at that time, I just don't have a problem waking up. So if like the sun rises at 6 a.m., I will wake up at 6 a.m.
I'm like, oh look, the sun is rising. I guess I should go to bed.
Oh my god. Anyways, so yeah, like it kind of felt like this was his everyday thing, and it was the best it was ever like being. Like if things changed, it was usually for the worse. By which I mean he either went to sleep much later, so let's say, I don't know, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., or just would have to wake up much sooner. And like because of this kind of like work, him being kind of all time busy, he usually came in late for stuff. Like when he like
Sure, of
even the
course.
kids at like even the kids at, because of course he interacted with the kids. He actually he's uh he does like the
Like tutoring or like like
yeah, like,
um
but like just being there at the event,
interacting
interacting
with
with the
them like
kids and stuff. Yeah, and like so
what is that?
I don't
Like,
know. Anyways, point is like even the kids knew that like when he said a time, it usually meant an hour later
yeah,
from that
time
time.
asterisk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to give him too much crap for
Eight.
that because not
Me neither, because like I mean, to be fair, I'm
accurate.
used to coming on time, and like if I'm late, it's usually, I don't know, 5 minutes, and that's too much. But
You monster. Okay, fine. Yeah, me neither. It's so ridiculous, unacceptable.
I mean, to like when you're running events, you cannot afford to be the 1 hour late. You seriously can't. Anyways,
Now we're like, yeah, that's rough. That's rough. So what you were saying was there was like a potential, like it was not uncommon for this guy to be like unreliable in some capacity.
true.
Okay,
You
all
could
right.
definitely say that. Should have been a red flag. I actually did not realize that was a red flag until you just pointed it out. Anyways, yeah, but like basically we just, because we did not ask for money right after the for payment right after the events, we basically opened up ourselves up for more losses in the future, as the things, the way the things played out. That's what happened. Anyways, so we did the live streams. There were some technical issues, so which we had to deal with in post. Things happened, and it was December rolls around, and we were finalizing our first project that we had for him, the one that we went out halfway across the country to shoot the footage for. And we were the arrangement was that we would finish it, we would upload it to YouTube, we would put an article on their site that they gave us access to. We managed their channel for them, so we had access to the channel as well. We would upload it, do all the stuff like set it, title tags, whatever, the YouTube stuff, the things I dread to do.
Yes.
Anyways, so that was agreed upon, and that what was also agreed upon, that we would get paid the weekend after, basically the last weekend before Christmas.
Okay.
So Christmas rolls around and no money on the account. New Year's Eve rolls around, still no money on the account from them. The day after New Year's Eve. Hey, so how are the other projects, other videos going? That's the message, the messages I got from him on my phone, like an SMS message. I just responded with a sorry. I just it was just Christmas. We had a break, so nothing really got done on that front. By the way, we still haven't got the payment for the first project we did for you. I'm not gonna of course, the project had a name, but
Yeah.
For the sake of, I just don't really want to drag him down, even though he kind of
I
wronged
think there's
me.
something to be taken from this, like outside of anything specific to like these people, because
Yeah.
like this is much bigger than that,
I'm mostly
honestly.
sharing the story for the experience than like for people to go and slam the guy or everything he does. It's not something I would
it's a
ever
learning
want
moment
for
you as
anybody,
well,
really. That's true. That's true. Anyways, so right, where was I? Yeah, right. So I also mentioned that no money for the project arrived.
So because he puts you sort of like, now that happens a lot too, like where like it'll he asks you, hey, what about this next, or what about this project? Where's this? Where's that? And so like I feel like that happens a lot. You got put on the defensive because it's like, hey, where's this deliverable? Where's this thing?
Yeah, exactly. But like it was even like the thing he started off with out of nowhere. It was like, hey, how's it was like, hey, how you doing? Blah blah blah, whatever. And then like, hey, by the way, how about these projects? No, it's like, hey, how about these projects? It's like, just like our relationship outside of that didn't even exist at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I can tell you why a lot of people do that, but I'll let you keep going.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, I'll let you. I'm not gonna try and make a fool of myself. Actually,
it's more like if he knows. It's not like he didn't get like, because what people think like, well, maybe he they'll start to like come up with think like, well, maybe he didn't get my message about that, maybe he didn't, maybe he just hasn't gotten to paying me, like it's just but he'll get to it, blah blah blah. And you sort of make excuses because it's sort of uncomfortable, right? And like with him opening about like, rather than opening about like, oh hey, your money, or I'll get to it, or I've got it right here, or no, I'm not going to give it to you, or I can't give it to you whenever. He just jumps into
I mean
something else you owe him, because it puts you on the defensive immediately.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe you're slightly confusing how the conversation went. I don't know. He started the conversation, and what he started with was the projects that we had not yet delivered. Yeah,
that's my point.
Like,
that puts you on the defensive because you owe him something.
Right.
So instead of opening with what he owes you, which you had already communicated to him, he went to what you owe him.
No. I had not communicated that to him at that point.
That he owed money?
Well, I mean, we made the agreement before Christmas that he was gonna pay us the week, or send the payment the week before Christmas, the weekend before Christmas.
That's what I'm saying.
And since then, we have not talked about it.
Of course.
Until the 2nd of November. Sorry, not November. January. Where he just instead of opening, the conversation with normal stuff, hey, how have you been, happy new year, whatever, he went straight to the other projects that we have been working on that have not yet been finished.
That's my point. I didn't miss.
Okay, so I'm actually I guess I'm misunderstanding then what you meant, because anyways, so what happened next, and this is something I already mentioned, but I'm gonna rehash it. What happened next was that I said, hey, sorry, it's been, there's been winter holidays. We just didn't do any work on them, as I actually told you before even like Christmas rolled around that, hey, by the way, I won't have time at all during Christmas. There's not going to be any work done on anything regarding these projects. Anyways, he completely basically forgot about that and immediately started asking about it. But again, I just hey, we told you nothing's got done on the projects, so they're still being worked on. By the way, that payment that payment for the projects that we did give to you still hasn't arrived. No response to that.
Yeah.
I was not going to call out him not responding. To be fair, like I probably would have done the same thing, just not respond to the thing. But I would have gone. Actually, my response would have been sending the money.
Yeah, or
Like,
at the very least, you wouldn't have asked for like something else that you wanted like the other person to do. It's like, hey, it's like if I know that I haven't paid you, and what have you, like it's like.
I mean, yeah, I guess I would
jump in and be like, "Hey, do this other thing for me," or "Why haven't you done this other thing?"
I mean, I guess unless I would have forgotten about, like, hey, that I haven't paid him yet. Like, if I thought I paid him, because shit happens.
Sure, if there was an actual
like you get like sure. I mean, like you are like in the internet banking portal, you're typing in the information, like getting ready to send the payment. Suddenly something distracts you so much that it automatically logs you out, and by the time you come back, you just see the internet banking screen saying it logged you out, and you're like,
yeah,
I guess I've done everything I needed, and close it, and the payment's not sent.
Yeah, for sure. You could legitimately have just or that or forgotten. You could have legitimately just forgotten.
Yeah. So but at the same time, I probably wouldn't start a conversation immediately asking about some projects unless it was like a really long time since we were like, hey, this is the deadline for the projects.
Yeah.
And like it was a really long time after the deadline.
So what you're saying is you're giving him the benefit of the doubt at this point, basically thinking like, okay, he could have just completely forgotten, blah blah blah, not even been like paying attention.
But again, like
the project.
So I pointed out that like the payment has not arrived, and he did not respond. But again, like I said,
but now he knows.
I probably would not have immediately responded either, but my response would have been sending the money and maybe telling them that, hey, sorry that happened. I sent the money now.
Yeah.
Like that would be probably how I would respond to the situation. They did not respond at all. A month rolls around. Nothing.
How long did this go on?
Yeah. A month rolls around, nothing happens. The money does not arrive. And he doesn't message me at all. I'm like, at this point, I'm like,
too surprising.
I'm just gonna, give him to March, the start of March. This point, at that point, it's over. Second month rolls around, still nothing. I get a call from some person working for him, but in terms of completely different stuff. He doesn't even mention it. He probably doesn't even know that something like this is going on. Anyways, deal with it. Okay, stuff's going on. And it's the start of March. Actually, right before the start of March, he sends me, hey, I haven't heard from you for 2 months. That's how he started the email. I'm like,
wow.
Haven't heard from me for 2 months. You didn't ask me anything. Why should I be the one initiating conversations? It's like... Actually, you know what? I'm actually going to open up that email. I didn't plan on doing it, but... I mean, to be fair, it's not in English, so reading it to here is probably going to be very, like, a summary sort of thing, and yeah. Okay, so he's hey, so how's it going? Is everything okay? I haven't heard from you in 2 months. And then he again pulls out the projects that I have not yet done, and internally we have decided that we are not going to work on them until he pays us for the project that is already finished. To be fair, we probably should have told him that we're not going to work on those projects until he pays us. But, things happened and we didn't.
Mm.
Anyways, he pulls out the projects again. He actually he has an itemized list of the projects.
Oh wow.
There's 11 of them, by the way. And by the way, when I say projects in this term, it means individual streams, individual videos.
Oh, I got
So yeah. Anyways, so he's got actually no, not 11. There's more. Because some of these are actually in terms of videos, there's more than 11, but I'm just gonna say 11 projects. Anyways, then he says something more, and mentions something about some completely different project that I have no idea why he's mentioning it, because I wasn't even involved in that thing, other than maybe telling the kids something about it, in terms of giving them a bit of help. Because I actually studied electrical engineering in high school, and
nice.
something related to that. So I just gave them a little helping hand with that project. Anyways, this message actually prompted me to writing. Basically, I was like, okay, sorry, this is actually over, because I pointed it out to him 3 months ago that he has not paid me for a project that's already finished, that he has everything for, and he did not respond at all, not even by sending the money. And then he again comes out 3 months later, or 2 months later, according to him. I think it's 3 months, whatever. Actually, maybe day-wise it's actually 2 months. I don't know, I don't think about it. Anyways, point is, he comes out 2 months later, says he hasn't heard from me in 2 months. Again, why should I talk to him,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I did not want anything from him. I did not really have a reason to talk to him. I did not meet him in person to talk to him. So, meet him on the street or something like that. So, again, why should he have heard from me? This is something that completely baffles me. We are not that great friends that we talk to each other every day.
He's putting the ball in your court. I'm plugging in my headset, so just keep going. Up.
Okay.
Once I keep going.
Anyway, so he does that, and again, completely forgets about the whole non-payment thing, and gives me a list of projects that we still haven't finished. And that prompts me to being okay, yeah, this is actually over, because at this point I'm slightly ticked off at the way he behaves, and I actually write an email. And because my brain, even though I'm not actually I'm not actually from an English-speaking country, my brain kind of thinks in English. So, by the way, you're still there, or you're hearing me at least, or something? Okay, wow. This is actually taking a bit too long for putting on headphones. Okay. Okay, anyways. So, point is that, I have an email that I drafted for him, and I'm just gonna probably read it out right now, so...
Yeah,
hello there.
Read it.
Oh, you're back. Fine. Anyways, so I just explained that my brain kind of works in English by default at this point. So even though I'm sending it to a guy in Czech, so I'm gonna I actually translated it into Czech because again, my brain thinks in English. So the email goes, "Hello there. I am writing this email to inform you that based on your disregard for your obligations in terms of submitting payment for past finished projects, Shield and Dagger Studio would like to respectfully terminate any and all active projects you have requested our services for. Our editing and channel management staff has, as of this moment, relinquished control of all channels, blogs, and pages you have asked us to manage for you as part of our arrangement. Since all the source materials for the relevant projects have already been provided to you, we will no longer provide any kind of support regarding the retrieval of said materials from Shield and Dagger Studios or any other services. We would also like to know that you are not entitled to any materials authored by Shield and Dagger Studios in connection to the relevant projects, and as providing them to you in the past or present was a gesture of good faith. Consider any and all obligations on your part for the active projects to be void as of this moment. If you would like to request our services for future projects, regardless of development, please note that we will no longer be providing the substantial discount you have received, and we will require payment for our services upfront, including the payment for past finished projects that remain unpaid on your part. For the team at Shield and Dagger Studios, my name. So that's the. I mean, yeah, I like it's I just kind of needed to distance myself from the fact that we have a personal relationship, and yeah, I did, and this is what came out, because at this point I was slightly angry at him.
Yeah,
just
well,
slightly.
actually, I've got to I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed by how you still managed it, because I mean, being angry at that point is I mean, everybody would be so frustrated with it at that point. Everybody is whenever you encounter that scenario, it's so incredibly upsetting. So to be able to manage it very professionally, but also you gave some decent communications, etc., etc., and to not break down in obscenities is a pretty impressive response to it. But this kind of thing happens all the time, and I feel like when you're in, especially whether you're running your own business, you're freelancing by yourself, or even if you're by yourself, but also especially when you have other people working for you, it's people that and will want to do projects with you, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's pretty fantastic. You'll get to know lots of people, and especially I feel like when you have your own business, uh you start to get to know a lot of people. So my buddy that I work with, um that I'm now working full time with him, blah blah blah, but he's been doing this even before me joining him, for so many years, and it's it feels like he knows just a little bit of friggin' everybody around. And so there's nothing wrong with doing business with people that you know. What it comes down to is that unfortunately there are people, and you'll just human nature is wanting to, uh whether even if it's not just simply to help people or do stuff for other people, it's at the very least okay, if we're doing something together, and if we knew each other a little bit, so people you'll have at least a small tendency to be well, let me do something a little bit extra for you because I know you, etc. Okay, so that's already there. So that's already to some degree from small to significant, like you did in this case, right? But then they will sort of trade on that and do something, and then it's so often that they'll take advantage of it. And I feel like this is where it comes into, and we've all been there. I've been there 100 times where you've been taken advantage of in this way, exactly like you were taken advantage of. And who knows, maybe this guy did intend from the get-go. Maybe he intended from the get-go to sort of just trade on this, get as much out of you as he could, knowing he wasn't going to pay you, and just get as much as he could and ride it as long as he could. Sure. Or it could have been all the way to the other side of the aspect of just being legitimately that like not with it, to and just completely oblivious, and on the other side of the planet, to where he was just oblivious to how much work you were doing, oblivious to oh, what his side of it, what he had agreed to these months ago, and just not coming through with it, blah 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 blah. You'll never know exactly where it is, and I think this is where kind of people get they initially, it's the first sticking point, right? Because you want to give the other person the benefit of the doubt, and I think
Especially if you know them for a while, at least
exactly,
for a while.
exactly.
I
Because
mean,
you
if you
want to
don't
assume
know
that
them, if
maybe
your
they-
first meeting with them was on the on the project, then you're not as likely to give them benefit of the doubt.
That's true. That's true.
You'll still give a bit of it,
A bit,
everyone,
yeah.
to everyone else, but not 3 months worth of it.
No, certainly not, certainly not. But yeah, exactly. So the longer there is of a relationship, etc., like yeah, the more you might be inclined to sort of like trade on that. So like I feel like what you have to do is to start to realize like where you've got to like set those boundaries and then like call them in quicker because you actually like again I was like really impressed with like not only again your response to not like turn into like expletives and go off on him but like also
I mean, to be
in a
fair,
very
in
respectful
private,
manner and like it cut
if
him through all the
if
lines
I mean, to be fair, if we met up in person for this,
now yeah
or
of course
I messaged him in like in SMS or something like that, or we called each other, I would definitely like start swearing. But
yeah at this point yeah no I wouldn't blame you and it would be completely warranted. But it's just kind of because like you also like at that point like you drew all the lines and this is kind of like the main point like sort of like okay it's like okay well if everybody is sort of prone to getting themselves into this position like well what do you do about it? Does that mean you have to like suddenly like oh well it's all or nothing like either you give everybody all these like excessive you know give you every benefit of the doubt and like but and never like actually like push the boundary or blah 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 like be overly lenient or like oh well then what am I supposed to do then be completely cynical and be like be a hard ass and a dick to everybody and like go extra so it's like I feel like people get caught into that like it's all or nothing kind of like
yeah,
thought like and they're like it's like what do I do you feel kind
it's
of like powerless.
yeah, and it's also like as we talked before, like because yeah, we talked about this thing. We actually were deciding whether to talk about this on the podcast or not. Uh, as we talked before, like if you're not being a dick to the person that's kind of screwing you over, you're being a dick to you and everybody that's working with you on your side of the project. So, because like suddenly, instead of everyone getting paid what they agreed to, no one gets paid. Or well, I mean, they're a bit of a dick to you because they don't pay you, but you are a dick to everyone else because instead of like putting a stop to it, you just let it continue.
Yes. I and
And
that
you are a
is
dick to
so
yourself
important for you to realize
because
that.
yeah, and you are a dick to yourself because well, you're not getting paid and you're still like letting yourself do more work even though you are definitely not getting paid, and now you know you're
Yeah,
not getting paid.
exactly. It's like you're screwing not only screwing over not only yourself, but like everybody, yeah, who's reliant upon you, whether it be your employees or even if it's family, etc., or otherwise, or like, um, but even still to your own time because like it's your time, it's yours and your staff's time, like that is being like put into this and it's like you want to be nice and I see like I know like one of the like sticking points or like the tricky points that like people get caught up in and like I said I've encountered this all the time where it's like okay you're small business and it's like okay it's clear at this point that this person is like screwing me around like this is whether they're doing it again and you don't know okay it could be any part of the gamut they could be like exactly like straight up fully being a dick to you and they're doing it on purpose and trying to screw you around or they can be all the way down to just accidentally dicking you around like just whatever
Yeah,
you want to call it but like but it's irrelevant is what you got to like realize first of all it's irrelevant as to what their full motivations are to in reality it really doesn't matter okay but the point is that they are doing it and them letting them continue to do it like once you know that it's happened is you'll stumble on well okay I know that they're doing this to me for whatever the reasoning is but I still want to get paid as soon as possible and I'm afraid if I put my foot down or try to draw a line in the sand create a boundary or etc etc I'm afraid that they will stiff me and not pay and completely screw me over, like if I say anything. And so it's like you started off being too lenient. You started off creating no boundaries. And this allowed this scenario to come up, right? And because at that point you're so afraid so afraid to like try like okay if I could salvage anything I still if I could maybe I can still salvage getting paid. It's like you'll get stuck in that trap of like okay I've got to continue to be lenient because if I try to like uh draw any line in the sand now then I'm screwing myself out of anything. This happens like all the time, and like what the thing is like you do have to draw the line. Like it literally will get you nowhere and it will continue to screw you over.
The,
Not only with this person, but in general. Like if you don't start to draw those like boundaries, become clear, and then hold consistent to it, it's like you said, it's you being an asshole to yourself, to everybody else that's like dependent upon you, etc. Like you need to do it as soon as you realize that this becomes the case. The action is you have to then begin and then hold consistent to creating boundaries and clear expectations.
exactly. Like, especially like the amount of cases in which, like, if things get this far, where the payment is like 3 months late,
Right.
you've already like pointed it out once or twice, and there's still nothing. They don't even like mention it in further conversation, and they egg you on, like ask you for other things that you potentially owe them, even though technically we don't owe the projects because again we have not been paid for them.
Right.
You know, so
You see how like
even
they
like
use the
yes
wording to
we agreed. I mean, to be fair, he didn't say oh, but uh we agreed that we were going to get paid after the projects are finished, but again, that's like
that's true, but that one
that
was
doesn't that does
finished.
yeah, and we didn't get paid. That's one thing, but
Correct.
also, like that doesn't make it that we suddenly owe them the projects. We would
Present.
owe them the projects at that point at the point at which they would pay us. If we suddenly, hey, by the way, if something changed and we wanted to get paid and they agreed to pay us, at that point, yes, we would owe them the projects.
Yep.
But
But this is what these like people that do this, okay? Like again, I know that there's that back and forth, like, oh, maybe they're not doing this, but like they do this on purpose, okay? For one reason or another, and we can delve into details
and even if they
past
don't,
this,
like,
but it's on purpose.
even if they don't, like, what prevents them from doing the same thing like again? You know, it's like
Exactly.
they did it for 3 months by accident. What's going to do? Like, how is it going to like? What are you going to do other than what you've been already trying to do?
Yeah. My point
That's
being,
suddenly
they did this.
magically
They
they're
did it
going
on
to pay you
purpose.
in the fourth month. Like
They
nothing.
they they're trying to get you to do more work for free, essentially.
Yeah.
Not that, but without you knowing it, they were trying to get you to keep working for them for free,
Like the
and keep you distracted by changing between like project like the scope creep, or like by derailing you and keeping you like on the defensive by like, oh well, what
exactly.
about this project,
And
what about this thing?
but by the way, the same thing can happen in reverse. If you are the customer and somebody like a freelancer or a company is doing some work for you, like I'm not saying that this is something that exclusively happens, like customer screws over the worker,
Oh sure, for sure.
or like the company that's doing the work for them. It
Absolutely.
happens the other way around. It actually happened to me the other way around right before then. A friend again, like literally the dumbest thing ever. I should start like not actually like giving or like work. Like I think I should learn my lesson and stop working with especially like friends that I really know well, because like
Yeah.
this friend, I knew her since elementary school. Like we
Oh wow.
literally were elementary school classmates,
Yep.
and
And you'd like to think
I
like, oh, great, this can be win-win. Let's like, I can help you, you can get something out of this. Like, it's a win-win. Like we're helping each other. Like, blah blah blah.
And like the issue here is not that she tried to screw me over. She did not try to screw me over. She didn't end up screwing me over. She got paid. I got the work I paid for. So like that thing has kind of a happy ending. But there was a problem, and that problem was that because we knew each other, she basically didn't even bother negotiating about the price of the work or anything. Basically, I told her like what I would want to do, want done. It was art. It was first thing was logo design for Shield and Dagger the company, and the second thing was a poster design for an event we were working on at the time. So we agreed that I would pay her up front for the work in both cases. With the logo, I paid her, and by upfront, I don't mean like before she even started working. By upfront, I meant like after the work was done, but before she gave me the work, the finished work. So the issue was that basically she didn't negotiate anything like in terms of payment or the scope of the work. I basically just told her what I wanted done. And when I asked her, I actually specifically asked her what was her asking price, like what she wanted to get paid for this work. And she was like, I don't know, you tell me. Are you there, by the way? Or actually, I probably should start.
No, I commiserate with that so hard because I'm the worst with like determining and like putting down my own prices. So I'm like sitting here like smiling and like commiserating because like I'm like damn. Especially when I first started freelancing, I'm like, God damn. They're like, how much you charge for this? I'm like, ugh.
I mean,
do you think I should charge for this?
But that's fine. Like, that's kind of fine if you like, you know. Then I went, okay, so this is what I'm willing to offer you, at least the starting price. And she's like, okay, and she took it. But then
there you go.
But then later on, when it came around to like the work getting finished and her getting paid and me getting the finished work, not in the logo design. In the logo design, everything was fine. The logo design was relatively simple. I paid her, but I didn't get the work.
Oh.
I mean, to be fair, I was fine with it because she sent me a fairly high resolution screenshot of her working in, you know, of the basically finished logo. So what I did was
But you did get the final files. I see.
Yeah, I did some blended trickery to pull the logo out of it. I was like, I already paid her for the work, so technically it's not stealing.
No, not at all.
But you know, I asked her for SVGs. I didn't get them for about a year after that.
Damn.
Yeah, but I was like, I asked her multiple times, and like every single time something wrong happened. At one point, she was missing her computer. She was actually literally unable to find the files she worked on. And again, I was like slightly like placated by the fact that I had a logo that I was actually you know, like the work was done. I was confident the work would be done.
You were trying to be understanding.
Well, that too, but also like I was confident the work would be done. And that I really like the worst case that could the worst thing that would happen would be that you know, like I got some slightly worse version of the same thing than what I actually wanted. Like I got a fairly high resolution PNG. I wanted an SVG, but you know, you still can make it work. Anyways, so I was like, I'm open to still working with her, so I again asked her for a poster for the event, and actually a logo design to like for the event as well. Again, she was unable to give me the quote. She didn't know how like, so I offered something. So I actually offered money, and I offered free entrance to the event because why not?
Right.
I mean, it was the event. I know it was like right up her alley, so to speak. Like, it was the kind of event that I knew she would go to if like she would pay the tickets to go to.
So
Anyway, so
you're trying to give her the benefit of the doubt and like try to like give her more opportunities to do more stuff and earn more money,
yeah,
but like hopefully this time like she'll give you the final shit.
yeah, exactly, and give me the things she owed me from back then.
Shit does happen, like
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
computers, this,
And
that,
like,
blah blah blah.
y-
So
like the thing is also like she didn't lose it; she just couldn't find it, and then she was moving. Like I knew she was like moving places, and during that, while she was moving, she was living with her boyfriend, and her computer was over at her parents'
yes,
house, so like she didn't really have access
plenty of
to it.
those people. Blah blah. It's like there's always something. This drama, that drama, this drama, that drama. It sucks
Except
because
I actually knew for real that it's actually it wasn't really a drama. It was just like she was at a different place than her computer
no, it
for an
is still
extended.
drama. It's just not like she's like doing anything on purpose, like in some like negative way, but like it is still drama. It's like
I guess you could say that. I mean,
exhausting.
to be fair, like I think of drama like when something happened between you and your parents, and that's why you can't go into your parents' house and stuff
Well,
like that.
sure, but like if it's like the drama of like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
between this and I'm
yeah,
between
I can
that, and like I
definitely.
was talking to this
Yeah, okay.
person, I can't go over here to do this, and I normally do it over here, but I'm like, this thing happened with that person, so I can't do that, and then I've got to wait for this thing, and then my computer busted, and so then now I gotta go. It's like, do you ever have like 3 seconds like without like some bullshit going on in your life? Because like, goddamn.
Yeah. Anyway, so what happened later? When like again, like the poster and the logo were being finalized for the event. Uh, like at that point, I actually started seeing a slight like annoyance, maybe at how little she's actually getting in terms of payment. Because
Really?
like,
On her side?
yeah,
Rude.
I mean, like she didn't voice it directly, but she was very clear that she would basically like to have the project finished as soon as possible. Which I mean, I get, but like I told you about everything about the project, how it would go, and it went as it went, as pretty much as I said it. And I gave you a price because you were unable to give me a price of your own, and you agreed to the price without any negotiations. So, like in my mind, that was like, okay, yeah, I see the problem. Like at that point, to me, because like she does commission work all the time,
Mm.
and I'm pretty sure that the issue in our case was not that she would be unable to ask a price or that she would be unable to negotiate, but the issue was that basically because of how long we knew each other, she just, it's like, again, like that not being a dick to the
Yeah.
other person. And in our case, like, I kind of screwed her over by giving her what she thought probably was a low price. And she kind of screwed me over by making me wait another year for the logo.
Like it's and this that's actually a really 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 good example, and again a common
And
example.
it's again like if you're not a bit of a dick to the person you're negotiating with, then it's also possible that you're still being a dick to that person because of
Yeah,
other
yeah.
things you do. Again, like she later on went basically started acting like a dick when it came around to like getting the stuff from her.
Yes. So here's what like this comes down to. Like this like comes up like I said a lot, and I actually work with this like a lot, like in now like currently. So what happens is like you can actually like my whole methodology or like my goals for like business is always like the win-win. And like I feel like people often underestimate or like discount that there can be a win-win. Everybody sort of like has this like under beneath it all, it's like this assumption that like it's always a win-lose scenario. Like one person is getting something a little bit better than the other person, or you can get one over on the other person. It's like, maybe you can try to get a little bit extra out of it so that like, it's like this win, like zero sum, somebody to win, somebody has to lose kind of scenario, right?
Yeah.
But but business, even business can straight up be win-win. Like, so, like, for example, if
I mean, to
it
be
was like,
fair,
listen, I want to pay a little bit less,
business
like,
by a rule is basically win-win because, like,
and it
you
very
get
much can
paid,
be,
I get what I wanted. It's a
precisely.
win-win.
And
It's
that
like
can even come with a variation. So, like,
it's
maybe
not
like,
an
okay,
exception. It's actually the rule in
it
business. That
should be, it should be.
I mean, yeah,
So, like, what will happen, like, okay, so for example, like, the standard would be, okay, you've got this, like, higher or like regular price for something, blah blah blah, the person pays it, you get it to them in this reasonable amount of time with the reasonable files, etc., etc. Like, this is just in this particular example, but that being the normal scenario, then you can still make it win-win. Like, there can be like, okay, if it had been established, like, hey, yeah, I'm willing to take that lower price if you're willing to realize, like, I'm going to have some snafus here, this is going to take longer, and it's going to take longer for you to get your final files, right? Like, so you can, like, if things are explicit, set out, and, like, just clearly stated, and everybody agrees to it, holds, like, it can still be win-win for any of these things. And what people fall into is, it's like, because they so, like, everybody so desperately doesn't want to say or ruffle feathers, or like, well, I don't want to hurt their feelings or upset them, or like, or just like direct confrontation is super uncomfortable, right?
yeah,
But like, if she was initially like being like, okay, I don't know what to price this, you give her a price, she agrees to it, right? Maybe she's thinking from the beginning, gosh, this is so cheap. Like, I'm just going to back burner this project, right? But she's not saying this to you because she doesn't want to hurt your feelings, or like a, or have to take this direct confrontation. So
yeah.
instead, she just says yes. Then, but without then to make that work in her head, she's already decided this is going to be a when I can get to it kind of project. She's not going to put this as a priority. She's not going to worry too much about it. And like, when she gets you the final files, you get the final files. And she's thinking in her head, well, what else can he expect for what he paid for it? But she doesn't say anything this to you. And it's like, and since you don't know it, like, so then the two of you, it's like, it like, it's ends up just down spiraling. But with, if all you, if you, what you handled it as, like, in the beginning was like, hey, look, um here's a price, she could have said like, okay, all right, well, for that price I can definitely do it. It's it can't be a priority project, but it's going to be this little,
Yeah.
like, it's going to be longer. Or like, if you want it to be like expedited or whatever, which is like certainly possible, then we'd be looking at this price, like, it just needs to be talked about. And I feel like people are so petrified of having any confrontation at all. And even confrontation is like loosely, like, that's just more the fear. People fear it as turning into a confrontation, but you can just like discuss things and like lay them out like explicitly. And it's very, very easy to make things win-win. And it's even still possible to, like, if it started off like not clearly expressed, like, you can reel things back in, though that takes a bit more of a situation, like,
Yeah.
sometimes to get it like reeled back in, but it is still very possible.
Also, I feel like many people. Again, I'm gonna say this again because like this is probably this biggest takeaway I'm right now realizing that I have from this. Sometimes people are just not enough of a dick during like the initial talks, and it turns out that later on, towards the end of whatever was on the table, the people are just complete dicks to each other instead of
Yes, exactly. And then
instead of like risking being a little bit of a dick at the start, you're now suddenly being a full-on dick at the end. And
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, not being clear at the beginning, like, literally, like, the risk is so high that, like, if you just can't be clear cut and, like,
by the way,
and like hold to
i'm
something,
I'm
you know.
going to interrupt you a little bit for some reason. We're getting some again glitching from your end of the voice chat, of the audio.
Is that any better now? Can you
Okay,
hear me
what the
now?
hell? It's still like it's packet losses at about 50%. Anyways, it's been quite a bit of time. It's been actually over an hour by now. It's been maybe 2 hours, so actually an hour and a half probably. Hang on, let me. Yeah, okay, it's been an hour. Anyways, I feel like we should slowly, probably we're slowly making our way to the end. Like I thought we could talk about more stuff, but I guess not.
It's a big topic. I feel like a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
And
I could literally tell you 6 examples in my
in your life that
last 2 months. So
anyways, thank you guys for watching, and so Phoenix, what do you say? 14 days, 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, another 2 weeks.
Okay, so we'll see you in 2 weeks on Sunday. I think what was it? 2 p.m. PST or something like that.
Yeah. No, 2 p.m. EST.
So, EST, right? EST.
Yeah. Eastern Standard Time, and then
I'm on the other end of the world. I should no, it's 8 p.m. on my end.
It's 8,
so
okay, so 8 p.m.
No, I mean the start is 8 p.m. So. Yeah, it's Central European.
Sure.
So yeah. Anyways, so thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Next time. Bye.